Renowned cage fighter Conor McGregor has been accused of assaulting a woman in her Dublin hotel room in December 2018. 35-year-old Nikita Hand claimed 36-year-old Conor attacked and assaulted her. She was found very bruised after the alleged attack by paramedics who treated her. She was taken in an ambulance to the Rotunda Hospital in Dublin the next day, where she was assessed in the assault treatment unit. The paramedic, Aithne Scully, who examined Nikita, testified in court that she had not seen someone so bruised in a long time. Scully said Nikita had a cut on her chin and bruising around her lower neck, as well as on her chest, legs, buttocks, and thighs. The jury had been told how Nikita had to leave her job as a hairdresser and has not been able to work since due to her mental health. Her relationship with her partner ended months after the incident. She had to move out of her home, and her mortgage was now in arrears. She also said she had to stop seeing a counselor because she could no longer afford to pay for the sessions. The court heard that she had spent more than €4,000 on GP, pharmacy, and psychotherapy costs. Nikita, a mother of one, told the court how Conor had pinned her to a bed before assaulting her. She was left with extensive bruises and abrasions over her body, including on her hands and wrists. There was a bloodied scratch on her breast and tenderness on her neck after she said she was placed in a chokehold by Conor. He denied causing the bruising, saying it could have happened after she swan dived into the bath in the hotel room. The jury had previously heard that on the day of the attack, Nikita and her colleague Danielle Keeley went to the hotel's penthouse suite with Conor and James after their work Christmas party. They gave evidence of how they had been partying all night from December 8th into the next morning. They had been heavily drinking and taking illegal substances. Nikita had also taken a case against another man, 35-year-old James Lawrence of Dublin. She alleged that he assaulted her by having non-consensual intercourse with her in the Beacon Hotel on the same night out. The jury found that James did not assault her. The jury at the High Court in Dublin found that the Irish mixed martial arts fighter is guilty on November 22, 2024, of assaulting Nikita in December 2018. He has been ordered to pay her €250,000 in damages. After 8 days of evidence and 3 days listening to closing speeches and the judge's comments, the jury of 8 women and 4 men spent 6 hours and 10 minutes deliberating before returning with its verdict. Both men had denied the claims by the 35-year-old hair colorist and said that they separately had consensual intercourse with her at the hotel almost 6 years ago. Conor shook his head after the jury read out that Nikita had won her case against him. He was accompanied by his partner Dee Devlin, his parents, his sister, and his brother-in-law. He sat in the back row of the court, between his partner and mother Margaret. Nikita cried and was hugged by her partner and supporters. Speaking outside the court, Nikita said her story was a reminder that no matter how afraid you might be to speak up, you have a voice. Nikita told reporters that she was overwhelmed and touched by the support she had received. She added, "I want to show my daughter Freya and every other young girl and boy that you can stand up for yourself if something happens to you, no matter who the person is, and that justice will be served." In a post on X, Conor said he would appeal against the verdict, and he thanked all his supporters worldwide. He said that he is with his family now and is focusing on his future. 32-year-old Durk Devontae Banks, known professionally as Lil Durk, is an American rapper. He was born in the Englewood neighborhood on the south side of Chicago, Illinois. His father has been incarcerated since he was 7 months old. Growing up, he had a great deal of responsibility at home, and his family had gone through some tough times, sometimes not even having enough food. Durk became a father at the age of 17. He then started taking his career more seriously, and he dropped out of school at Paul Robeson High School in order to join the Black Disciples, a street gang in Chicago. Durk is a 4-time Grammy Award nominee. He founded the Chicago-based collective and record label Only the Family in 2010, which included the rapper King Von. In late 2011, Durk was arrested on a weapons charge. He was released on bond but was later sentenced to 3 months. On June 5, 2013, Durk was arrested after throwing a loaded .40 caliber handgun into his car when the police approached him on South Green Street in Chicago. Durk was charged with the unlawful use of a weapon by a felon, and he was held on $100,000 bond. His lawyer claimed to have 9 witnesses who could confirm that Durk was innocent. One of the witnesses also said that the gun was his, and Durk was released on July 18, 2013. On August 19, 2016, Durk was cleared of disregarding probation when he was arrested on felony gun charges. The judge dropped the charges. In May 2019, Durk and King Von were arrested on charges relating to a non-lethal shooting that took place earlier that year on February 5th. According to prosecutors, the two men robbed and shot a man outside a popular Atlanta drive-in for a Jeep Cherokee and $30,000. After weeks in jail, Durk and King were released on $250,000 and $300,000 bonds, respectively, and in October 2022, the charges against Durk were dismissed. Durk is a Muslim and a father to 7 children. He has been engaged to his longtime girlfriend, India Royale, since 2020. On November 6, 2020, Atlanta police responded to multiple people shot at the Monaco Hookah Lounge at 255 Trinity Avenue. It happened after an argument between Timothy Lul Tim Leaks, who is a known associate of Quando Rondo's crew, and rapper King Von broke out. In surveillance video released from that night outside the lounge, you can see a fight break out before shots are fired. 3 people were fatally shot that night. King Von was one of them. In the days following the shooting, Atlanta police announced that they arrested Leaks in connection to King Von's demise and charged him with slaying. King Von had just released a 16-track album through Lil Durk's Only the Family label a month prior to him being shot. Fulton County jail records show Leaks was released on a $100,000 surety bond on March 27, 2021. In the early hours of July 11, 2021, Durk was targeted in a home invasion where he and his fiancée, India, exchanged gunfire with the suspects. Nobody was harmed, and the suspects fled the scene. An alleged slaying-for-hire plot uncovered by the FBI in California that was made public in October 2024 in a federal indictment is bringing renewed attention to the fatal shootout in downtown Atlanta in 2020, where King Von lost his life. The FBI now alleges that following King Von's demise, Lil Durk put out a bounty on the life of another rapper, Quando Rondo, as retaliation for the 2020 shooting of the rapper King Von. On August 19, 2022, the attempt on Quando's life happened in Los Angeles by at least 5 members of Lil Durk's Only the Family organization outside a gas station. He survived, but his cousin lost his life in the shooting. On October 9, 2024, it was reported that Durk, the estate of King Von, and OTF Records were filed a wrongful demise lawsuit by the estate and family of gang rival and Chicago rapper Carlton FBG Duck Weekly, who was slain outside of a Gold Coast strip mall on August 4, 2020. The lawsuit and its attorneys claimed that Durk and his OTF Records imprint were profiting off of Weekly's demise through negligence and misconduct. Lil Durk was arrested on a federal charge near Miami International Airport on October 24, 2024. Lil Durk had been booked on at least 3 international flights that were leaving on the 24th in an attempt to flee the United States. Lil Durk appeared in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida on the 25th. He remained in federal custody and was expected to be arraigned in Los Angeles in the coming weeks. He was charged with conspiracy to use interstate facilities to commit slaying for hire, resulting in demise. Representatives for Lil Durk had not responded to a request for comment. Those accused of conspiring with Lil Durk, Kayvon London Grant, DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, Keith Jones, David Bryan Lindsay, and Asa Houston, were arrested in Chicago also on October 24th, and will also be arraigned soon in Los Angeles. Prosecutors say that, in addition to being a hip-hop collective, OTF is a gang that engages in slaying and assault at the direction of Lil Durk, and to maintain their status in OTF court documents say that the hitmen were offered rewards, including lucrative music opportunities, if they contributed to Quando's demise. A credit card linked with Lil Durk and OTF was used to purchase airplane tickets for the co-conspirators to fly from Chicago to California, where they believed Quando was located. Around the time the flights were purchased, a telephone number that prosecutors said was associated with Lil Durk was used to text an associate saying, "Don't book no flights under no names." In a news release on October 25th, Martin Estrada, the U.S. Attorney for the Central District of California, said that Lil Durk had orchestrated a cold-blooded slaying and that the shooting had endangered many others as it occurred in the open at a busy intersection. Lil Durk was initially hit with one charge of conspiracy to commit slaying for hire, however, in a superseding indictment filed on November 7th. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Central District of California charged Durk with two more crimes: one count of use of interstate facilities to commit slaying for hire resulting in demise, and one count of using, carrying, and discharging firearms and a machine gun, and possession of such firearms in furtherance of a crime of violence resulting in demise. Lil Durk pleaded not guilty to the slaying for hire charges and is being held without bail in Los Angeles. He may be released on bond after his hearing on December 12th, though prosecutors are strongly opposed as the rapper was trying to flee the country before he was arrested. A trial is tentatively set for January 7th, 2025. He faces the prospect of life in prison if convicted. 80-year-old Mike Jeffries, the former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch, the popular clothing brand, has been arrested on sex trafficking and interstate prostitution charges involving young male models. Mike was the controversial CEO of the popular clothing brand from 1992 to 2014. He was arrested in West Palm Beach, Florida in October 2024. Mike was indicted on 16 federal counts of sex trafficking and international prostitution, and is accused of leveraging a network of employees, contractors, and security professionals while he led the retailer. Mike was released on $10 million bond. Other conditions of his release include being restricted to New York City, Long Island, and the Southern District of Florida. He's also not allowed to leave his home unless it is for pre-approved reasons. Those pre-approved reasons include attorney visits, medical treatment, and GPS monitoring. He also had to surrender his passport. U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, Breon Peace, said in a press conference that Mike was using his power, his wealth, and his influence to traffic men for his own pleasure and that of his romantic partner, Matthew Smith. 61-year-old Matthew Smith of West Palm Beach, Florida, and another associate of Mike, 71-year-old James Jacobson of Rice Lake, Wisconsin, were also indicted as part of the case. James was employed by Mike and Matthew to recruit, interview, and hire men to perform commercial acts for them. Mike pleaded not guilty to the 16-count indictment at his arraignment in a New York federal court on October 25th. Matthew, in the same courtroom, submitted to detention until the matter is heard in New York State. James was scheduled to appear in federal court in Islip alongside Mike for arraignment. All three men each face a single count of sex trafficking, as well as 15 counts of interstate prostitution tied to 15 alleged victims. A federal indictment alleges Mike, along with Matthew and James, operated an international sex trafficking and prostitution business from 2008 to 2015. It alleges that they organized sex events in England, France, Italy, Morocco, St. Bart's, New York City, and the Hamptons for Mike, Matthew, and others. The indictment also says that they employed coercive, fraudulent, and deceptive tactics in connection with the recruitment, hiring, transportation, obtaining, maintaining, solicitation, and payment of the men to engage in commercial sex. The indictment alleges that the men who attended the events were led to believe that it could lead to modeling opportunities or help their careers, or that not complying with certain requests during these events could harm their careers. The youngest of the alleged victims was 19 years old. Many of the victims were financially vulnerable and aspired to become models in the fashion industry, which was not always an easy career. Some of the men they recruited had previously worked at Abercrombie stores or modeled for Abercrombie. During these events, the men were required to sign non-disclosure agreements and surrender their wallets and cell phones. Mike, Matthew, and James are also alleged to have recruited, hired, and paid an exclusive set of household staff members to facilitate and supervise the events. Either James or the staff members paid the men for attending the events. Allegedly, the trio employed a full-service security company to administer non-disclosure agreements, conduct background checks, and monitor, and, if necessary, intimidate victims. On occasions when witnesses threatened to expose or sue them, Mike and Matthew relied on the services of a security company to surveil and intimidate those individuals, thereby securing their silence. The trio used burner phones for communication with one another. Attorney Peace said at a news conference that Mike and Matthew spent millions on this enterprise. Some victims were paid directly in cash that amounted to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Peace said that the operation used a referral system and interview process during which the men who were allegedly preyed upon were not informed about the details of the events before they attended. During those tryouts of potential candidates, James typically had candidates first engage in commercial acts with him. Prosecutors said they have dozens of witnesses who may testify. Peace said that his office became aware of the allegations through media reports. The BBC published an explosive report a year ago that said Mike had been accused of exploiting men at parties he hosted. The report said that 12 men described having attended or organized events that included acts for Mike and his partner Matthew, and that those events took place from 2009 to 2015. Some of the men who spoke to the BBC said that they were exploited or did not participate willingly. Bieber, Mike's attorney, told NBC News at the time that he would not comment on reports about his personal life. Abercrombie and Fitch said it was appalled and disgusted by the allegations in the BBC report. The company and Mike were sued over allegations that they turned a blind eye to the allegations against Mike. Attorney Brittany Henderson, who was representing the alleged victims in that class action lawsuit, said in a statement, "These arrests are monumental for the aspiring male models who were victimized by these individuals. Their fight for justice does not end here. We look forward to holding Abercrombie and Fitch liable for facilitating this terrible conduct and ensuring that this cannot happen again." When asked whether sex trafficking may have continued after 2015, Peace said that the investigation is ongoing and encouraged any victims or any witnesses to come forward. Mike is due back in court on December 12th. James pleaded not guilty. A date for Matthew's arraignment has not yet been set.